Wow.
Wow, this is some really deep stuff.
I don't know what just happened, but something happened inside of me. Something snapped, something.
I wasn't expecting that
either. Sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. It's beautiful.
Monster is like really small, but it had to become that to stop me.
And then the hurt child became present when you mentioned it.
And I didn't realize this until now.
There were things that I didn't remember until now.
It's funny. I haven't seen that before.
It feels like I'm the monster. I'm kind of seeing images of things. Of a world where they can exist. This clarity brings all kinds of answers.
It's clear. She hugged me and then went back to her place, I guess, in my heart. Oh, it wants to come out. It wants to bippity boppity boop Cinderella me. She's melted into my chest. It's ooey gooey.
All week been finishing things, cleaning up more, started eating vegetables again last week. And it kind of just started happening. It's almost like I just finished going through a meditation session.
I feel light. When you hit that first joint, in the morning, and
I actually feel a lot more awake.
Okay, so you have a part that you were wanting to get to know.
Yeah, so it's a little bit of a conflicting part. It's kind of like a protector coming out when there's a very loud exile that's bubbling up as well. It's both parts, and it's in relation to I've had kind of an ex-boyfriend pop out from my history, and we had a very rocky relationship previously, but I had very strong feelings. I would say low compatibility, high chemistry with this person.
Okay.
And ever since he's come back, and I would say that we're trying to see if we can give it a shot. I have this exile just screaming loudly for feeling unsafe, and my protector is coming up, I think, telling me to also to pay attention. I don't know, it's just this weird two parts coming up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So one part's saying this feels unsafe, and then the other part's saying we need to listen to that.
I kind of one part's clearly distraught by this person being in my life, which I presume is the exile. And they also feel very drawn to them. And it's a weird kind of mixture of emotions that exile has. And then the protector's coming up saying, we need to kind of get out of the situation. We should not be probably talking to this person.
Yeah.
I think in defense of the exile. Okay. So that's what's been happening.
Okay. Well, I guess let's start with that, the one you're calling a protector. If that's right with you.
Yeah.
So where do you notice that feeling in or around your body?
It feels like it's in the front of my body, mostly focused on my chest. Yeah. A little bit of my head.
What kind of sensations come up around that? Tightness,
I think anxiety. Yeah, it's a very anxiety filled sensation. Feels like tightness, kind of on the edge of my seat a little bit. I don't know if this is like the exile coming through, but that's
I don't
what I'm
know.
feeling at the moment.
Don't know. And it might not. I don't know. Sometimes I get myself into a corner when I try to label who's who too quickly or okay. So when this feeling comes up, when this part comes up and you notice it there, how do you feel towards it?
When this feeling comes up, I feel a little bit like I feel like I'm stuffing it down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like it's like this anxiety that I don't want to feel, so I'm a little bit hesitant to wanting to really open that door.
Yeah. Kind of want that feeling to go away.
Yeah.
And that might be another part that is worth getting to know also, especially if that is the part that's saying go away anxiety so I can, or it's more pro for the relationship, and another part kind of saying let's get out of this. So but we could just take them as they come. So let's see what happens if you ask this part that's trying to push this protector away or this anxious part away. See what happens when you ask it to step back, give you a little space so that you can get to know this protector just in this conversation.
It's allowing me. It's hesitant, but it's like, okay, fine. Like,
okay.
Yeah.
And if that's a concern that we need to address, or if it feels like it needs to jump back in, we can do that too.
Okay.
So you can just kind of let it know that if it needs to have it wants to share its side of the story, we can make time for that.
Okay.
So, yeah, can you kind of get closer to this this first part, this protector part, invite it to the conversation.
Okay.
And how you feeling towards it now?
Like I'm more ready to hear it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So yes, just let it know that, and ask it what it wants you to know.
Okay. It sounds like a very logical part, and it's like, Molly, like, that this isn't going to work. It's very like those are like the first words. It's just like very clear. It sounds very convinced. It obviously is coming from a place of, wanting my best, but it just feels also very just like it's not emotional at all. It's not connected to my emotions at all. It's a purely logical part.
Yeah.
Pure logic. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how do you how does that land for you? How does that feel when you hear from that part it's saying that?
Like, I think logically it's only like one part of the story almost, because like there's emotions and logic, and like my logical part is like, yeah, I can see why it's saying that. I think it makes sense. But it's not taking into consideration the emotional aspect of this, which is really the complicated part. So it just seems like it's oversimplifying the situation with this person when I have very complicated feelings that were brought up.
Okay.
Yeah.
And again, we can examine the parts that are those other parts also. But okay, so can you let this part know that you're hearing what it's saying, that it makes sense to you, why it feels that way, or that it feels that way?
Yeah.
And maybe ask what it is afraid of happening.
Okay. Like that part, it feels like a big sister part,
Mm-hmm.
like a very, like it just wants to remind me of like, okay, well, you moved on from this person. It took a lot for you to move on from this person, and you're just like landing right back in it. And like, you shouldn't, not that you shouldn't, but like, like, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's really saying. It's like, it's afraid of me having like a hard time in this relationship like I did the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't have to share with me, but when it's showing you that hard time, does that resonate with you? Does that check
I
out?
think
Mm-hmm.
it makes absolute sense. Yeah.
Okay. Great.
Yeah.
So can you show it that it makes sense to you, and just show it some appreciation for looking out for you?
Yeah. Okay.
You might ask it if it like if it can identify, or if it knows kind of the part that it's in, that it's polarized with, it, that it's in contention with.
Okay. It feels like it's like a younger sister energy, and
Mm-hmm.
it feels like they are at odds, but it's not that they hate each other. It's like they're in a complete disagreement, and it feels like the younger sister is the complete emotional part. So they're like, the logic and the emotion are two separate parts, and the logic is
Yeah.
the older sister, and the younger part is the little sister, and that's the pure emotion part.
Yeah. And would it be okay to hear from that little sister part? Would that be helpful? Okay. So yeah, if you can identify it, and if you can just thank this part for letting us know what it has to say, and also pointing us in the right direction.
Okay.
And then see if you can turn towards that other little sister energy.
Okay.
And where in or around your body do you notice that?
Let me see. That's more in my gut, like in my
Mhm.
stomach. It feels like it's dropped, like the anxiety has dropped down to my stomach, and just still, it's worry. Um, it seems like this part is more chaotic, more uh like erratic, frazzled, like a disorganized kid. And also just it feels like it's on the verge of tears,
Mhm.
just overwhelmed with like emotion.
And how do you feel towards it as you notice it there?
I mean, I feel bad, for like more bad or pity.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And does that feel like a feeling that kind of comes from your head or comes from your heart? Is that
Like the feeling pity for that part.
yeah, is that a compassionate kind of pity, or is that more like a uh, shame on you, go away, or
No, like a
uh,
compassionate.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So let it know you have compassion for it.
Okay.
and ask it what it would like you to know or to know about it.
Okay. Seems like lost. Like it seems very confused, very lost. I sense that there's an aspect of like being lost in the past versus present.
Mm-hmm.
Just very like afraid because like she knows that this person has like hurt us before, and she holds on to that, but then at the same time she's looking for him to like soothe her from that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's very confused.
Yeah. Does that
Yeah.
resonate with you? Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. You just show her that. Let her know that
Okay.
makes sense to you.
Okay.
And listen in as you ask more about what she's afraid of happening if she doesn't get your attention in the way that she does.
Okay. Like this part's it's like it doesn't want to be in this place of confusion forever. Like it just wants to feel absolved of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't know whether to emotionally, allow this person back in or not. And it just doesn't want to be in that place anymore of not knowing, just how to feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah.
So just so I understand, it's stuck between kind of the feeling of it wants to have him there to soothe, provide comfort, and but also this kind of fear of being hurt again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think it just doesn't want to be in that place of between those two options. Like, I think that's what's affecting it the most is not having an answer to any of this and just being in this limbo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what is it afraid would happen um if this person wasn't there to provide that comfort? If you were to go along with the voice that said, no, let's get out of here.
It's funny. I know that this part stems from, the childhood that I had, which is like, if I don't make this work, then I'm a bad person. Then like I'm the problem. It's because of me. That for some reason it takes responsibility where it's like it feels almost like it knows that this person is like not safe, but it's almost like trying to act as though it can change the outcome and make this person suddenly like safe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know that stems from my childhood for sure.
Yeah. And so just sitting with that, this feeling of that it has of if you don't make this work, then you're the problem.
Yeah.
Are you able to just sit with that and witness it and show compassion for that very difficult feeling?
Yeah.
Do you notice how old this part is?
This part feels like 6 to 8 years old, maybe 8. Yeah.
And does it recognize you?
It does.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how does it feel about you? Does it feel like it can trust you to handle the situation and also to handle its feelings?
I think that it knows that I'm the adult and that I'm here to clarify and to kind of, I guess, like correct things. And this part feels so convinced in its view of like, no, I need to, like, it feels convinced in its flawed worldview of like it having to create a safe environment for itself, or like to, like, I don't think it's fully convinced that like an adult is there to help, even though it knows that I'm an adult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how do you feel just learning that about it? That it's kind of wanting that kind of adult energy. It knows that you're an adult, but it's not feeling like it's able to fully relax in that.
Like it makes me feel like for sure this stems from like to understand its origins, where this feeling has existed, since my own childhood. It's me feeling as though adults are unreliable, and I've had to change the narrative in my own mind to make sense of things, or take the blame for things because it makes no sense as to why adults would do bad things to me.
Yeah.
It's definitely playing out in this situation. Yeah.
And how are you just in witnessing that right now? Like, how is that okay with you? How's that feel to you?
It makes me feel sad that this part feels the need to, like, at 8 years old, take on that much responsibility and feel like the adult in their own lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And can you show it that you that you don't like that it's in that situation, that you
Yeah.
see it in that situation?
Yeah. Okay.
And how are you being with this part? Are you close to it in terms of like feet away, or?
I feel like I'm maybe like 6 to 8 feet away. So I'm not far from this part, and I'm facing this part. But I'm not close to them. I'm not like holding them or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm kind of wondering how it would feel to get closer, if that feels like the right move, or if it would just make sense to keep witnessing it and asking it how it feels, or how it would feel about you getting closer.
It's a little distrustful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're not gonna push it.
Yeah.
So what else does this part need for you to see or to understand about it to help it feel more trustful? What else does it want to show you about its situation?
Let's see. Like, it just wants to know that like everything's gonna be okay. It feels like it needs a lot of reassurance. That, it's lost. It doesn't know how to feel about this person. It feels like if it can make them seem safe, that it's okay to like love them again, or to show love to them, or to be around them. And it's not convincing itself. So it just wants to feel safe. Like, it wants to feel like everything's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Yeah. And so I don't know what kind of direction that feels like it's calling you to go with this part. If it's concerned about safety.
Well, it feels like a very complicated young part. It's extremely complicated. It's like everything just feels like it's all over the place emotionally for it. I think it just needs like I'm trying to see what I could do to help it just not calm down, but like just to like just be more organized, or a little bit more at ease. Let's see.
It's asking for safety. It's a part that was it wants, you use the word soothing.
Yeah. It's something just came up, and it really likes this person that came back, but it really wants to know that like if I choose to like not pursue anything with this person, and I choose to walk away, that it wants to know that like I will choose myself over this person, because I think that it's used to adults like glazing over its fears. And so I think it just wants to know that obviously its fears are going to be addressed and heard, and like worst comes to worst, like I'm here to parent it and to do the right thing for it. And
Right.
even though it really likes this person and it's drawn to them, that I can be the parent and say, no, we're going to be first. I'm going to come first. You're going to come first. And like, we're not going to put ourselves in this situation. Like, so I think it's just really looking for like, just to relax its head into knowing that someone's got its back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting you said about if you didn't go with this person, that it would be important for you to choose yourself.
Yeah.
And then, but I'm also hearing that kind of regardless of if you're partnering up with this person, that you're choosing yourself, right? I mean, I feel like you also kind of were saying that.
Kind of, yeah. Like, it's such a complicated, just a lot of emotions that it's bringing to me.
Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying to make sense of them. I feel like I'm seeing it with like compassion. I'm trying to understand it a little bit more.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of sense making going on in our dialogue, at least. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I would just look out for that as possibly another part that's trying to solve this more from an intellectual, figure it out side.
Okay.
And if we're talking to a 6 or 8 year old and their concern is safety, and comfort.
It's like, how do I handle that? Maybe like more emotionally.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, instead of like trying to logically figure it out.
Yeah, and you might just check that out with the part,
Yeah.
of really trying to understand what it would like from you.
I think it wants to feel like my life continues even though this person came back. Like that I'm still involved in my own interests, that I'm still reserving time to do the things that I want to do, that this anxiety isn't kind of like overtaking my life.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm still investing in the things that make me happy. And it doesn't even seem to like care what. It just wants to make sure that that I'm spending time with it or with myself.
And yeah, I mean, if you check all that out with it, I just want to make sure, like, is that coming from it?
That's right. Like, yeah, it's funny because I'm trying to put it to logic because it's all only emotion from this part. It doesn't seem like it's very wordy at all.
Yeah.
It's almost like I'm putting words to its emotions, but it's not able to tell me what it feels at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, again, I would just maybe, if there's a part of you that's really concerned about getting the language right or spelling it out right, you might ask that part to kind of step back.
Okay.
I think it's important that we figure out if this part is, if it's saying, choose yourself, I hear that kind of a strategic going forward, choose yourself thing. But if it's saying, I don't feel safe and I'd like to be soothed, that would probably call for a different response from you.
Okay. So
you
it is saying
you could check that out with the part, yeah.
Yeah, like it is saying that it wants. Basically, it just doesn't want to feel this way anymore. Like that's it. It's not telling me exactly what. Let me try to explore a little bit more. I think it just wants me to sit with it and its feelings.
Can you do that now?
Yeah.
Okay. And how are you being with this part when you're sitting with it and its feelings?
So I am closer. We're kind of like Indian style and sitting right across from each other, like our knees are touching.
Yeah.
And I'm just like watching this part, just like it looks like torn up. It looks like it's like it's a child, but it has like shiners under its eyes. Like it's very like not like from being beat up, but just from not sleeping or a lot of anxiety running through. And I'm just like just having compassion and just being with her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think you should just keep doing that.
Okay.
And see if you can just listen in to whatever it wants to show you or has to say, even if that's not verbal or not something you share with me.
Like its feelings have like moved to now having some tears, and it's like, why do people hurt me? Like, why do I just keep getting hurt by people?
Yeah.
Like these are literally the first words it's like been able to translate out of its feelings.
Yeah, or you could say that that you've been able to hear as you're listening deeper.
Okay.
You said this part feels stuck in time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is there anything it would like for you to do for it back in its time?
I think it's still mourning
Mm-hmm.
its past, but it understands that like it's the past and you can't like change it. Like I think at 8, because she's a little bit older than other parts that I've had, other exiles,
Yeah.
like she understands that it's like, that's happened, but it's like mourning all the like the pain that it feels, but it also desires just love. Like it just desires it. And at the same time, it's just mourning never having gotten it or being cared for, or
Yeah.
it's that's the complicated feelings it has that I don't think that it understands how to handle. Is like that it
Yeah.
really desires love. It really desires to, for us to be happy and to find someone or to be loved.
Yeah.
But it also just doesn't understand how that hasn't happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So these are big feelings for like
Big feelings.
an 8-year-old part. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you okay being with them, being with the parts, being with the feelings? The mourning is okay with you. The desire for it to be loved is something you're okay with sitting with.
Yeah. Yeah. Like it's funny because like it's an exile. It's an 8-year-old exile, but like it's very, very just, it's a smart part. And it's like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
there with it and it knows that I'm there and it's not against me being there, but it knows that I'm also like struggling now. It just recognizes that like the adults in its life, including me right now, have been fallible and have,
Yeah.
like we don't have it together and it doesn't feel safe, not even with me, knowing that like I'm just a normal human and I make mistakes and I'm fallible.
Yeah.
And it's so, yeah, it's so interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smart part, complex part,
Very complex.
a big feelings part, and that's beautiful.
Yeah. I definitely feel like a love for this part, just for appreciating how intelligent and deep she is and how much she has contained. And yeah.
So I'm kind of returning it. Part of me says, like, if you're in this place with this part, I want you to do what your intuition is telling you.
Yeah.
And I also have like my little checklist of questions
Yeah.
to offer, and so if check with you, check with the part, check with yourself, and do what's best.
I think that I always welcome the questions. I think this part just wants like all it wants, and I think I'll do this after the call too, is just to just sit with it. Just like just really just sit with it, be with it, accompany it.
That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll just kind of, because I think that that's wise, and you're there and you should be doing that. You should do exactly that. I can just kind of throw out some of the next steps. Again, I'm referring to my little checklist here of things that you might do off the call, or you might just kind of offer it. But they're just suggestions. They're just kind of prompts, ways to be with this part. If and when that simply sitting with it doesn't, when you're done doing that. So again, that would be, checking with it about if it feels stuck in a place in time, and either going back and helping it with some of those difficult things in its time.
Okay.
If there's anything it wants you to do for it, if there's anybody it wants you to talk to, and then, go ahead.
No, I was saying I don't think in that aspect. I think this I think they're learning like a life lesson. Like I think this 8-year-old is just trying to process a life lesson that it never got to really process, and it just tried to like I don't know, develop beliefs around and tried to make it work instead of just accepting that it's like people have hurt me, and I might still want love, and I might still want their love.
Yeah, and that sounds like a mourning process to me, and it sounds like something that it just takes time. It's something that, mourning's tough, and we all have protectors that come up and want to push that away and not be in that place. So that's all very normal.
Yeah.
And there's no wrong way to do it other than not doing it.
Yeah.
So just some other suggestions would be to kind of invite it into the present, or into the present place and time, a fantasy place, just somewhere that it feels more relaxed and more able to be itself.
Yeah. Okay. I think that would be effective.
Yeah. Yeah, so you can go ahead and do that.
Yeah, so it's like a naturey kind of forested place.
Yeah.
It's beautiful green trees, and like a light shining through the trees kind of deal. And we're just like on the forest floor, and there's like a stream nearby. That's where it wants to go.
Beautiful.
Yeah. It's feeling. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh no, it's feeling better.
Yeah.
That part, yeah.
And then you could also ask if it's carrying these feelings of whatever type of pain, if it wants to try unloading those from its body, if it can find them in the body, and if it wants to kind of let go of them, that's something we could do.
Okay. Let me see. I think it's open. Yeah. It's open to do it.
So where does it carry these burdens? What does it feel like in or around its body?
It feels like the chest and the arms and the hands, like it's all upper body and chest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And how would it like to give these things up to one of the elements, earth, wind, fire, water, or any way it can think of?
I think water. Water. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, you can just set that up with her, however that looks, and just help her, let her know that she can just let it all go and keep doing it until it's all out.
Okay. Like there's a stream nearby, so I think that it's smart enough to like understand that, it's just learn like I think it was confused on how to handle, you know, uh someone who hurt me and still wanting to be loved by them, and
Yeah, it's
uh
really hard.
that it's learning this lesson, and I think releasing expectations that it had of like never being hurt, or finding a
Or
good person by
never
now, or
being
things like
hurt,
that. Like it's
never being
yeah,
loved.
yeah, like it's kind
Or
of
you
yeah,
talked about, you being the problem, or this feeling of like, yeah, kind of some personal brokenness or worthlessness. I know is a common kind of feeling.
yeah, yeah. And like as an 8-year-old, I think that it had expectations that like, you would have had people in your life that would pay attention to you and take care of you, and
Yeah, she
um
deserved that.
yeah. And so I think she's like letting that go, like down the stream, like she's like a little boat just going down the stream,
Great.
you know.
Yeah, tell her to
Yeah.
get it all out, and that you'll be taking care of her.
Okay. Okay. It's yeah, it's like accepting that it wants to have like a blank slate, because it doesn't, like it's understanding how real people and adults and just me, how life is.
Yeah,
And you know uh like it's kind of like saying, okay, I thought it was supposed to be this way, I've been really confused, I thought, and now I'm
yeah,
just not, like what I think isn't true, and I don't know what the truth is, and I just accept that I don't know,
that's
like I don't know
hard.
what. Yeah, yeah,
And there might also be some, just it sounds like she's been kind of trying to, well, also kind of trying to figure it all out and be involved in all these decisions. And, um, her desire and need to be loved is is great, and she should have that. Like that's totally natural and normal. And also, when it comes to every relationship that you're involving yourself in as an adult, you want to try to just take away some of those burdens of her having to do all that evaluating and figuring out,
yeah.
and let her be a kid.
It's like understanding that like yeah, like her desire is fine, but that every relationship is a risk, and just allowing me to evaluate that risk instead of her. Yeah.
Right. But again, I'm hoping that's in a more connected way, not a less connected way. So I don't know. Maybe
Oh yeah.
maybe I'm talking too much and getting kind of contradictory. Where it's like you want to be able to hear her concerns and her calling out for love, and
Yeah.
also you want to be able to make the decisions, fully informed from all your parts and from yourself.
Yeah. So I think that's the new. I think that's a wonderful, I would say, job, is for her to have like a new position or role for her to have, instead of trying to decipher my relationships. It's just her stating, you know, that she wants love, and that she is
Yeah,
entitled to love, and like having that right to say, okay, uh, I want a safe, reliable love,
yeah,
and you know,
Yeah.
And I can see what that looks like for her. Yeah.
Well, I'm just going to suggest that the safest, most reliable love is yours.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because just in this, 45-minute conversation or whatever, you're able to see that, you're able to provide that, you're able to inquire about that all internally and show up and provide that. You're able to see where there was work to be done and all of this, and where she carries it, how she'd like to be. I mean, you're able to see all these things about her that no one else can see.
Yeah. Thank you. I think that's amazing. Yeah. So it's more so giving her the role of letting me know when she wants love, rather.
Yeah, and that's just listening. That's just being connected.
Yeah.
As long as she can trust that you'll respond and that you're not just pushing that away.
Yeah.
But check all this with her. I mean, you and I are getting kind of chatty, and I just want to make sure that she's feeling like we're going in the right direction here.
Yeah, no, it definitely resonates. And I do feel that. I feel like she's learning it, like she's grasping it, she's like processing it. I think this part is the kind it really just needs to process things, and then it really, really just does, it does well that way. And it just, yeah. Yeah, it's much better than when it first started.
How about those protectors that showed up at first? Would it make sense to invite them in and just see if they have reaction to you doing this work with this part? You might invite them to participate in a similar ritual. You might just see if they would like to reevaluate their roles.
Yeah. So the initial part, like the big sister part, is now looking at this part with more compassion the way that I am. Like,
Great.
Instead of just pure, like it's understanding like the difficulty that this part was having a little bit more, rather than it just being like, we shouldn't be with this guy. Just being like, okay, well, so it wasn't about the guy. It was about just her having to process this life lesson in the fallibility of relationships and adults and people, and still wanting love anyways. Yeah. Like it definitely, it's better.
It's a big thing. I mean, what you're talking about is all big stuff, and I hope that I don't know. I know that when I do work with my parts, and it's easy to go deep and then kind of be done with it, and um, I just encourage you to stay with these parts. I mean, you said when you get off the phone with me, you would go be with this part. Like if it has mourning to do, if it has a connection to build with you, I mean, this is the most efficient way I know to do it, but it still doesn't happen
Overnight.
It doesn't happen overnight. And that's why the general prescription is go back and be with this part every day for 3 weeks. Find a place in your heart, in your body, where you can touch into this part, check in with it every day. And yeah, I mean, just assume that you've only scratched the surface.
Definitely will. Like this is a big find for me. I want to say I think it's like, I actually can't wait to get to know this part a little bit more and just spend
Great.
time with her.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I feel like I should let you get to it unless you have any
No, I
other
want to thank
concerns
you
or
so much.
questions.
No,
Yeah,
I
thank
just
you.
wanted to thank you. And honestly, this is super, super helpful.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks to your parts for showing up, and yeah, I hope to be able to follow up on it and hear how it goes. Your connection with this part, it's huge.
Thank you. Alrighty, I'll let you know how it goes.
Okay. Have a good night. It's nice talking with you.
Thanks, James.
All
Nice
right.
talking to you too. Okay.
Bye. Do you want to help bring more self-energy to the world? If you'd like to participate in calls or help out with this project in any way, I'd love to hear your ideas. Join the Discord server or contact me at james@liveifs.com. A huge thanks to our audio engineer, Yvonne, for your care and diligence in editing the calls. To every caller for your courage in sharing some of your parts. And to anyone out there getting to know their internal system, keep going. Who knows? That might be the most selfless, helpful thing you can do for others, and you're the only one who can do it. If you'd like to see us reach the largest audience, we must please the almighty suggestion algorithms at iTunes and YouTube. And they don't care about the power of IFS. They're looking for likes and shares and comments, and the sooner the better. Follow the links in the show notes right here in your podcast player to make your wishes known. And now, a minute of meditation. Or if you prefer, pull over. You can do it in 60 seconds. Just click one of those links. They're right there, and give us a like or a 5-star rating. It would really help. If you think this project is helping people, you're helping people by sharing it. Thank you.